Hello and welcome back to Substream News, your weekly dose of tech news with a bit of futurism, dystopia, health, culture and all sorts of other stuff. Little sprinkling of skepticism and sass from me, Joseph, your presenter. Thank you for coming back, or if you're a newbie, welcome to SNN. Now, today we've got a juicy lineup of stories that are going to excite you and thrill you perhaps, or they might bore you and you'll switch to another channel. But I'm hoping you'll stay and find out what I've got to say, because these are excellent stories. Let's get right into it. First up, let's talk about the elephant in the room, or should I say the robot in the room. Now, the idea of AI taking over the human workforce is one of the media's favourite doomsday narratives, but is there real truth to it? Well, at the moment, a little bit, but the first AI software engineer, whose name is Devin, seems to be bungling most of his tasks. Allow me to explain. Yes, like a Nepo baby intern, Devin doesn't really know what he's doing. Now, according to a team of data scientists who've been researching Devin, the first AI software engineer, also described as the future of engineering to some, it failed 14 out of 20 tasks, with a further 3 inconclusive. That means just 3 out of 20 software engineering tasks were successful. That's a 15% success rate. Substreamers, that's worse than my attempts to assemble IKEA furniture. 15%. Shocking. Anyway, here's the kicker. It gets worse. I'm sorry, Devin. Yeah, if you're listening, please don't punish me when you guys take over the world. The researchers looking into Devin couldn't even predict when it was going to do well or do badly. They really felt that it was pretty random. Its performance was random. You know, they were just chasing their tails on this. It's really quite a strange story, especially when you consider the bigger news here, which you may remember is that my guy Zuck, the world's, robotic tech bro, who's had a massive public rebrand over the last couple of years, as I'm sure you've seen. He plans to replace most mid-level software engineers with AI as soon as this year. Zuck, buddy, perhaps pump the brakes on that one a little bit, because if Devin's anything to go by, that is not going to go down well. Yeah, anyway, for you engineers, software engineers in particular out there watching, number 1, thank you for tuning in. Number 2, your job is safe for now. Let's move on to the next story. It's a little bit brighter over here, a little bit brighter. So let's move on to an AI that is working and is working really well. If you haven't heard about it yet, it's called DeepSeek, and it's an open source AI model from China. And I've been playing with it the last few days, and I would say it's better than ChatGPT, and it's better than Claude, as much as it pains me to say it, because I've grown quite close to Claude. Claude now appears to be a fraud, because DeepSeek costs 98% less than ChatGPT, and OpenAI is not going to be happy about that they've been overspending. How is it different? How have they managed to achieve greater results, with a 98% less spent? Well, they taught the AI, DeepSeek, to do trial and error, to teach itself. They taught an AI to teach itself, and that is really critical to AI development. Here's how it works. Let me explain. If AI is kind of new to you, here's how the process works, right? Humans give the model initial guidance, right? It then takes that guidance, that data, and it refines itself by ranking the outputs, right? You could put that into like a human context, would be the student who grades their own work, but they're actually really good, so they give themselves top grades, right? That's kind of an analogy for it. Anyway, it is scarily good. I've been playing around with it. It is the first AI model that I would say really gives me cause for concern in my career. I'm multi-task professional, but I am largely a writer and researcher. The silver lining is, for now, I can use it just to supercharge my output, right? Substreamers, glasses off when this is important. If you don't learn to embrace ChatGPT, Claude, DeepSeek, Gemini, all these tools, if you don't learn to embrace them now, they could replace you, or somebody who knows how to use them will replace you. That's the gist of it. Okay, Let's move on. Next up, we've got some political drama, and if you're a regular viewer here, you know we don't do politics, so I'm going to remove the politics from the equation and just focus on the tech here. Spain's Prime Minister, Pedro Sanchez, he wants to end online anonymity in the EU. Right? And he believes that they can do that by linking all social media accounts to EU digital identity wallets. Now, this is a dystopian nightmare. Do you agree? I agree. I agree with myself, with my own point. Now, I will give him this. Let's play devil's advocate, or play both sides for a moment. I will concede that social media is rotten to the core, right? It's concentric wealth and power. That the tech conglomerates do have too much power, too much data, and use it nefariously. I will give him that. I will also give him that some people use the anonymity of online for bad purposes. But not everyone, and I do believe that you should have a right to anonymity online. His solution, however, I'm going to step back. Look at the bigger picture here, right? His solution to ending anonymity is to force identity into a digital world, right? Forcing identity means you have to give them all of your data to use their platforms. When the problem is that the platforms already have too much data, all of your data, and they're using it badly. They're not even taking good care of it. There's always leaks and hacks and stuff. I think this is like fixing a leaky tap by knocking down the whole house. I just don't understand the approach, except... let's be honest, we all understand the approach here. It's how can we control people more? How can we introduce laws, regulation and compliance to control the masses? I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist here, but that's all this is. Anything you read about EU digital identity wallets, it's awful. It's really awful. The kicker is, in this speech that Sanchez gave, he compared using the internet anonymously to driving a car without a license. Now, that's broken logic. It just simply is broken logic. The real issue is not anonymity. The issue is the platforms themselves, which are designed to monetize your personal information and interactions and experiences and everything. The only answer here is Web3 and decentralized social media. That's the way forward. That's the way out of this. Not like legally making people give up all of their data. That's really a bad approach. Anyway, I think we should move on. Staying on the theme of social media, I would like to talk to you a little bit about TikTok. Now, it's been dominating headlines recently. It got banned by Biden. Trump has unbanned it, but it's limited, right? I believe they have 45 days to sort things out, or it will get rebanned, right? So it's just very temporary, but everyone's talking about it, the existential crisis at TikTok. Now, there's a new story, a new narrative that's popped up this week, and it's that the Trump administration is actually reportedly negotiating a deal that would see Oracle take over TikTok's global operations. Oracle, that's a huge company, and they believe that ByteDance would remain a minority stakeholder. Of course, we know about the current legal implications and how they are pushing ByteDance into a corner. So I guess ByteDance has to make a decision. Do they leave the market entirely, or do they hand over most of the US operations to someone else, with all of the risk that that entails? And I know it's really hard, and I know that realistically, ByteDance doesn't want to give up anything. They want the US to completely change their mind, and it looks like that really won't happen. But what may happen is that Donald Trump might just become, in a strange twist of events, TikTok's sugar daddy. Stay tuned, substreamers, because this saga is far from over, but this story is over because we're moving on to the next one. Now we're going to talk about everybody's favourite dumpster fire. Yes, it's Twitter. X, sorry, I'm old, I keep forgetting. Now, according to a leaked email at Twitter or X, Elon Musk apparently sent out a message saying that X is barely breaking even. That's worrying, right? And he also referenced stagnant user growth and unimpressive revenues. Now, what he also reported was that he didn't send the email. Is there even an email? This is part of the story, right? This is really bizarre. The news channels, media sites are reporting this email, and Musk is saying there is no email, right? He just completely denied sending it. What more is there? I mean, this is the same guy that went on a podcast, smoked joints, and said he would sell Tesla stock at 420. He talks a lot of nonsense, right? Last week, he did a salute that said it wasn't a salute. He's a complicated guy. I don't want to defend him or criticize him. You know, he is what he is. He's an innovator, but he's a complicated one at best. I just think take anything he says with a pinch of salt, even the contents of a mystery email. But I do think the reason that I wanted to share this story with you is that Twitter is perhaps dying. From what I've seen and heard, other platforms are popping up, and now might be the time to look elsewhere for where you get your news and community interactions from. Because, let's face it, Facebook's for old people, Instagram's not what it once was, Twitter's becoming known as the racist app, and it's attracting a different crowd, and people are looking for alternatives. So, if you're not happy with your social media experience, look elsewhere. We will welcome you into the Substream community, but for now we're just here on YouTube, so get involved in the comments, leave us a message, remember to subscribe, of course. You can find the links to all of the stories we cover in the video description, and there's even a little bell. I heard that there's a little bell you can click. I don't know what it does, but you can test it out and let me know. Okay, let's move on. Okay, guys, we're going to finish on a lighter note. Actually, this note is so light that it literally glides. It's called Glide, and it comes from a company with a great name, Glidance. This is actually a really important story, so please listen up, because this one is one that can change the world and help those who are less advantaged, less fortunate. It's really heartwarming. A motorized guide for the blind that fills the gap between guide dogs and canes. Now, a lot of people don't like using a cane. A lot of blind people don't have access to guide dogs. The stats say there are 1 million people in the US who are blind, who have sight problems, and only 10,000 guide dogs. That's 1%, right? 1% of blind people are covered with a guide dog. It's not a lot, so there is a big shortfall. Now, invented by Amos Miller, a former Microsoft developer who lost his sight as a young adult, Glidance uses cameras and sensors to detect obstacles, steer users around them, and even alert them to curbs and stairs. Isn't that lovely? I think that's wonderful. Now, the downside is they are $1,500 for the hardware. Let me stand aside. You can put a picture here. Isn't it wonderful? I think it's really cool. I think that is the future for blind people. Who knows? The design might change. It might be even sleeker and more slim and streamlined as tech does these days. But $1,500 and a $30 per month subscription. It's a game changer for blind people. And actually, one thing that's really interesting is it comes with earphones that guide you. They give you audio instructions. I'm sure AI is in there. I didn't read too much deeper into it, but you can remember links in the description. And that's a wrap for today's episode. Substreamers, thank you for watching. If you've made it to the end, I mean, thanks. What more can I offer you? But we'll be back in a few days with another video, because we are a twice-a-week publication. Now, if you have any thoughts about these stories, pop them down in the comments. I would really appreciate it. I will even personally reply to them. And just remember, in the words of every tech bro ever, the future is now. Stay up to date, stay informed, stay subscribed. This is Substream News. I'm Joseph. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time, I hope. Bye for now.